Hello, this is Thomas Benner coming to you from Austin, Texas, and I've been playing around with Captivate version 9 all week, recording some training videos for some work I'm doing, and I thought I would record a video for my Illustrator students showing them the different kind of vector art that you can do in Adobe Flash. Flash is an amazing vector drawing program. So here I am in Flash on the welcome screen, and I'm going to create a new document by clicking on this option right here, Action Script 3. And what I want to do is go to the rectangle tool. I'm going to change my stroke to none, and my fill is black. I could also have changed them here in the Properties panel. I'm going to draw a rectangle. There's my black rectangle. Then I'm going to switch to a different tool. Let's do the oval tool. And I'm going to draw a black oval. Now, the type of vector art that we do in Flash, this is known as merge vectors or shape vectors. And this is different than the vector art that we're used to in Adobe Illustrator. Illustrator does what we call object vectors. So when you select a path in Adobe Illustrator, you have an object selected. Here in Flash, we work with shapes natively. So I'm going to go to the black arrow tool. I'm going to click on this oval. Notice the grid of dots. That's an indication that I have a shape selected. Also here in the Properties Inspector, it tells me that I have a shape that I'm working with. I'm going to take this shape and drop it over the rectangle so it overlaps, and click away to deselect. Notice that the shapes have merged together into one shape. This is because shapes that share the same color attributes, when they overlap, they merge. This is why it's called merge vectors. Let me undo that. There we go. And I'm going to change the color of this oval to a different color. Let's choose blue. Drag it over the rectangle, click away to deselect. Click on that circle again and drag away, and notice that it punched a hole in the other vector shape. The reason is if we have two vector shapes with different color attributes, in Flash, when the top shape overlaps the bottom shape, it punches a hole in it. So that's kind of cool. Another thing we can do, if I'm in the black arrow tool, I can hover over an edge of one of my shapes, and you'll see that little arc underneath the black cursor, and I can push on the mouse and drag, and I can reshape this. I can even go over a corner, see the little corner icon on the cursor, and stretch out a corner. This is way different than what we do in Adobe Illustrator with its object vectors. Now let me come up here to this blue circle. Notice there's nothing selected right now. I can even reshape things without them even being selected, just by hovering over their edges. So I'm going to distort this thing to my heart's content. I'm so happy. There we go. So this is what's known as merge or shape vectors in Adobe Flash. Now, there's one other thing I wanted to show you. Let me go ahead and select all and delete. And let's draw a rectangle. But before I do, I'm going to come down here in the tool panel at the bottom, and I'm going to click this little button right here that says Object Drawing. This is a relatively new edition of Flash. This says, let me draw object vectors like what I do in Illustrator. So with that button turned on, I'm going to draw a rectangle, and then I'm going to draw an ellipse, and they're the same color. Notice the bounding box around the shape, around the vector object, indicating it is a vector object. And if you look here in the Properties Inspector, you'll see it is now described as a drawing object. I'm going to drag that over the other object, deselect, move away, and they do not merge, nor if they were different colors. Let me go ahead and change that to a different color. Let's do green, deselect, move it away. They don't merge, they don't punch holes in each other. This is what's known as object drawing. This is the kind of drawing that we do in Illustrator. And to do the type of drawing you do in Illustrator, you would turn on, let me go back to one of my shape tools. You would turn on this button down here for object drawing. Now what's interesting is, even though these are objects, I can still hover over an edge and distort things as I wish, which is, I think, is a great way to do art. So that's it. Merge shape vectors in Adobe Flash and object vectors in Adobe Illustrator. These two programs are very compatible. You can copy and paste between the two programs. But this type of vector art in Adobe Flash lets us do some pretty cool things that we can't do in Illustrator. So there you go. Have a great night.